My name is Eliana bat Avraham Avinou, and I want to tell you a little story about how that came to be. I was born Pamela Ann DeVita in 1953, but I became Aliana bat Avraham Avinu December 12, 1995. I was studying Judaism and had a very warm, heartfelt feeling about it, and something was pushing me forward to learn as much as I possibly could. And at that time, I was a corporate trainer for a major cosmetic company in the United States, and my job was to travel and train consultants that sold the product behind the counters, and also to work with the regional managers and the buyers in various prestige department stores around the country. This one particular day, which actually the date was, and I'm looking it up on my computer because I can't remember all the details, but it was actually October 31st, 1994, and I was scheduled to be on American Eagle Flight 4184. Now that's an interesting flight and an interesting date. That flight was to take me from Indianapolis through Chicago O'Hare Airport on to Buffalo, New York, where I had an appointment with one of my account coordinators. I traveled frequently, and every week, generally, I flew out on a Monday and got home either Thursday night or Friday. And I usually traveled with a lot of seminar materials, which required probably 6 extra pieces of luggage. It was my habit to do seminars when I was away, so I needed a lot of props and materials. This particular day, I was kind of flustered leaving for work, and I neglected to pack my weekly planner. My weekly planner was important because it electronically held my schedule, my phone numbers, my expense report, my credit cards, etc. I got about halfway to the airport and I realized that I had left it at home. So I decided I wasn't going to spend a week away without it, and I quickly drove back home, picked up my planner, and then raced to the airport. I'm sure I broke some speed limits on the way. At any rate, I arrived at the airport where the skycaps were very used to seeing me, and they saw that I was in a hurry, and they quickly took all of my luggage inside for me, and I went to the American Eagle desk with my ticket in hand. Back in those days you had tickets, and handed it over. The flight attendant said to me, "Hurry, the plane is loading and it's getting ready to shut the doors." And I said, "Well, I need to check in all of this luggage." And she said, "Don't worry, I'll put your luggage on the following flight and you'll get it later on tonight." I wasn't necessarily upset with that idea, and she said, "Hurry, I'll tell the flight attendant to hold the door for you, so if you run, she will." So I started to run toward the gate, and about halfway there I thought to myself, you know what, this doesn't feel right. I remember not too long ago I was in Fargo, North Dakota, and my luggage didn't make it, and I spent 3 days with 30 women and no materials to give them other than what I knew from memory. So I decided, I'll go on a different flight. I'll go with my luggage, whatever flight that will be. So I went back to the gate, to the counter, and got myself on a different flight going through Pittsburgh on to Buffalo. Upon my arrival in Buffalo, I checked into the Marriott Hotel. It was always my habit to walk into a room and make sure that everything worked before I unpacked. So I flipped on the bathroom light, I checked the shower stall, I made sure the water worked, I made sure there weren't any drips, I checked all the light bulbs, and I turned on the TV. As I did that, there was a news bulletin that came across the screen, and they said, "This just in, there was an airline crash today, this morning, out of Indianapolis on its way to Chicago." Well, you can imagine, my heart skipped a beat. I thought, oh no, I hope no one I knew was on that plane. And then they announced the flight number. and I sat down in the chair, and I literally couldn't breathe. And I looked at my ticket, and sure enough, that was the flight that I was supposed to be on. There were 64 people killed on that flight, plus 4 flight attendants. There were no survivors. And it crashed at a soybean field outside of Merrillville, Indiana, and even the luggage was demolished. They couldn't make heads or tails out of anything that was on that flight. As a matter of fact, they have memorials where they just have unidentified body parts. They couldn't even put it together. So what kind of an effect did that have on me, that I was that close to getting on that flight? And what was that reason? What was that compelling reason that stopped me dead in my tracks on my way to get on that plane? All I can think of is that it was Hashem, because I was in the process of pulling the trigger and becoming an Orthodox frum Jew. I was going through a conversion process that was put together by 3 different Orthodox rabbis in Indianapolis and coordinated with the Beis Din in Chicago. And I thought that was a true sign from Hashem that I was not meant to die as a non-Jew, and that there was a reason that my life was important and that becoming a Jew was very important too. So here we are, almost 20 years later, 19 years later now, and for the last 16 years I have been happily married to an Orthodox Jewish man, my husband, and we live in an Orthodox community, and we observe all the Jewish mitzvot and holidays, and my life has truly, truly changed. So that's my story, and now I'm done.